Hey, this is David Miller with the Miller Group of Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here to help you get real estate smart. All right, so I'm going to be rolling out a series of where I'm going to be actually interviewing experts in the field with some valuable information concerning the virus. So today I'm talking with Megan Wolf, and she's with Wolf Financial Group. So she's going to share with you some of the changes that the U.S. government has made to allow you to pull money out of your 401k without penalty, as well as the loan program. So here you go. Enjoy. All right, this is David Miller with the Miller Group of Keller Williams Realty. I have Megan Wolf with me right here, and she's with Wolf Financial Group, and she is a CPA. Well, I brought Megan on board here because she had something cross my desk that I thought would be of interest. Obviously, with the COVID-19 virus going around, that has affected everyone, mostly in a negative manner. And what I find is that there's people that have either lost their job, or maybe they're part-time, or they've been furloughed. And so what's happening is that people are looking for ways to get cash. And I wanted to talk to Megan about that because she says there's some new programs out there that you may not be aware of that maybe you could take advantage of. The first one, Megan, was I know that there's been some changes related to penalties and retirement distributions as it relates to COVID-19. Can you sort of talk about what those changes have been?
Absolutely. So on March 27th of 2020, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, which is what most people lovingly refer to it as, is the CARES Act, was signed into law. And this piece of legislation included a lot of different things related to small businesses as well as individuals. And one of those things was some relief as it relates to distributing money from your retirement plans. Basically, when you withdraw money from a retirement plan, like an IRA or a 401k, prior to turning 59 and a half, then there's a 10% penalty. And this is usually in addition to any taxable normal federal income taxes that are due on the funds. So what the CARES Act did was, in certain circumstances, they've decided to waive that 10% penalty for those who are facing some struggles related to COVID-19.
Gotcha. Well, that's great then. So I'm just curious, what are some of the requirements that must be met in order to be eligible for waiving of that penalty? I'm sure they don't do it just for anything nowadays.
That's correct, but it is going to be an impact for a lot of people. So there's about 5 main circumstances in which you can be eligible for this waiving of the extra 10% penalty. One of those is if you, your spouse, or any dependents that you claim on your tax return have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Another one is if you've experienced any adverse financial consequences as a result of being quarantined, furloughed, laid off, or if your work hours have been reduced. Another is if you're unable to work because childcare has closed, and so you're not able to have your children in childcare or school, and so you're having to take care of them during the day and therefore can't work. Or if you've had to close or reduce the hours of a business as a result of the virus, that's another reason that you're allowed to waive the 10% penalty. And lastly, kind of a more generic, if you've been financially impacted by other factors determined by the Treasury Secretary, which is kind of a way of basically saying that, if there's a catch-all for other impacts that maybe we're not thinking of right now, that the Treasury can come out with some additional exceptions later on. But it's pretty broad-based. It basically says that if you've been impacted by the virus, which so many of us have, then you could qualify for this.
Okay. Well, I'm curious, is there a limit to the amount that you can take out without that 10% penalty?
Yeah, so they're allowing you to do up to $100,000 on a distribution from retirement accounts that can avoid the penalty. Still owe the taxes if there are any, but just avoids the penalty, the 10% penalty.
Let's talk about the taxes, because obviously those taxes add up pretty greatly for some people. Is there any relief for paying the taxes on the distribution due to COVID-19 hardship?
Yeah, some pretty good relief on that as well. So 10% penalty is waived this scenario, but you still have to pay any taxes that are owed on that money. Because typically when you have money that you're contributing into a retirement plan, you get a tax benefit in the year that you contribute. And therefore, when you pull the money out, you have to pay taxes then. So what they've done is, knowing people are going through financial hardships right now, which is the whole reason that they're allowing this relief, is they're allowing you now, you have up to 3 years to pay the tax on any taxable distribution. So what that means is that it's totally your choice, is the way they've written it. You can decide to pay the tax on it all in year one, the year that you distribute the money. You can do it equally over 3 years. You can wait until year 3. You can pay it all in year 2. You can slice and dice it really however you want. You just have to do it within 3 years. The other thing that they've done, which is a pretty good benefit, is typically when you draw money out of a retirement account, you can do what's called a 60-day rollover, meaning you have 60 days to then recontribute or roll over those funds into another retirement account to avoid tax in total. Well, what they've done with this is they've increased that 60-day rollover limit to 3 years. So not only do we have 3 years to pay the tax, but you also have 3 years if you decide you'd rather just re-put the money back into the retirement account. You have 3 years to do that as well.
Very nice, very nice. So it sort of depends on your situation then, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. If you're able to financially recover from the hardship that you're going through in the next couple of years and recontribute the money back into your retirement account, then you can do so and totally avoid tax in its entirety, not just have to spread it out over 3 years.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, are there any other changes to the 401k loans in case, taxpayers would prefer to take a loan instead of a distribution?
Yeah, so some folks who are still employed but maybe have reduced hours or are suffering from some other COVID-related financial hardship, and they have the option through their 401k at work to take loans, which many people do, but it's up to your employer and how they've written the plan docs. But most do have an option to do a loan on the 401k instead of a true distribution. Typically, those loan limits are up to $50,000. They've increased that loan limit for these purposes to $100,000. So instead of being capped at a $50,000 loan from your 401k, it's now $100,000. I do caution with this though. You want to be really careful about this, because typically if you take a loan on your 401k and then you subsequently terminate from service with that employer, whether you're let go, laid off, for whatever reason you're no longer working for that employer, then typically most of the time the way that the 401k plan docs read is that 401k can no longer be repaid, and therefore it becomes a taxable distribution in the year that you terminate service from that employer. So right now, when we've got a lot of people whose jobs they might currently be employed, but it could be a matter of time that maybe there's some layoffs or something coming down the road, I just recommend that I caution you to do the 401k option, the loan option, because if you're let go from your job, then it could convert to a taxable distribution, and then the taxes are going to be due on that.
So make sure you're very confident that you have your job for at least 3 years then, right?
Right, because some people, they'll do the loan, and then if there was a distribution instead, they might have prepaid some taxes, but when you do the loan, you don't do that. So then if it converts to a taxable distribution, you don't have that opportunity to have some of the tax paid in already. But you still have the relief with the 3 years, so you still have time to pay the tax or recontribute. So there's options there.
Perfect, perfect. Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on board here. If any of our past clients or folks that receive our newsletter are in need of Megan's help, I'm going to have Megan's contact information here below, but do you want to go ahead and state your best phone number, Megan?
Yeah, so our phone number for our office is 407-333-0355. Our office is still open even through all of this. We are working remotely, but we're able to set up phone calls and virtual meetings and really work at almost 95% capacity. It's just the face-to-face is what we're not doing right now for the time being. So,
and that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, thank you for your time. And of course, if you need our help, please give her a call. If you need our help on real estate, we'd be glad to help you out as well. Thank you.